God damn it!
News on this Faster Than You Friday. All kinds of exciting news on this Faster Than You Friday. None bigger than the CDC, Center for Disease Control, abandons its COVID-19 vaccination recommendation. As you see there, says it's a personal choice. So if you want to take the CLOT shot, it's your ball game. The CDC, the federal government, is now no longer recommending COVID vaccinations. Man, we've needed some good news. And that is some absolutely terrific news on that front. I want to get to an interview with Charlie Kirk just before he was politically assassinated with the very famed world-renowned cancer doctor and LA Times owner Pat Soon-Shiong. We'll run just a little bit of it. Here we go.
Cancer rates are going up with young people in particular, and B, what is causing that? At least anecdotally, doctor, I know people that I went to high school with in my local community that are 35 and 36 years old. In Chicago, they're getting colon cancer. they're getting cancers at a very young age. Is it true that cancer rates are going up, or is that just media hysteria? And if true, what is causing that?
John, you asked exactly the right questions. That's why I was in Saudi Arabia. 60% of the population there are under 30. And your audience, the college audience, is something that I am very worried about. Meaning the following: I am now beginning to see the cancer rates not only going up, but going up in younger people. I've never seen a 10-year-old with colon cancer.
We ran that just a little bit ago, but I wanted to refresh it once. That was one of Charlie Kirk's last interviews. And Pat Soon-Chan has said, I've never seen the cancer rates in young people. And this is, if he's not the top cancer doctor in the whole entire world, he is in the top 3, maybe of all time. The dude's worth billions. He holds patents on drugs and treatments up the wazoo. If he's concerned, I think that's a big impetus on why the Center for Disease Control said it no longer recommends the COVID-19 clot shot. If you want to take it, it's your ball game. Another good news from Robert F. Kennedy Jr., head of Health and Human Services. Here we go.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. here, your HHS secretary. I'm proud to share a critical update with you today. The FDA is taking action to require full safety information to be included in drug ads on TV and radio. No more hiding vital information in small print or pushing it off to a website or a 1-800 number. Since 19...
So we're not going to get no more tricky, this, and you got to read the fine print, and oh yeah, we said it on page 139742. You might start growing a green horn out of your head if you take this stuff. Maybe we are turning the corner slightly on some honesty in government. Let's sure as hell hope so. Shots were fired at ABC 10 Sacramento. Now, we don't know if it's in regards to the Jimmy Kimmel situation, which seems to have people in an uproar. Some not so much, some saying, thank goodness he's gone. But here's the ABC 7 report on ABC 10.
Again, with breaking news, shots fired at the ABC affiliate KXTV ABC 10 in Sacramento. Tegna, who owns ABC 10, tells us officers responded to reports of shots fired into a window of the building today. Video from the scene showed at least 3 gunshots. No one was hurt. So far, we do not know if this was a random or...
So they're not saying if they do know if it's just a random attack or has to do with the Kimmel situation. As fluid as everything is, you can't never count anything out. We had flash floods here in the IE, up in the Forest Falls area and Oakland, which are kind of in the same plane. They're just east of San Berdoo, Ukipe area in that. Here's some of the reports from ABC 7. See some of the video playing, we hope. There you go. See some in the floodwaters going across. And there's very devastating. Some of the roads into Oakland are open. Some of that, but some devastating floods up in those areas as they experience some extreme flash flooding. Sad thing up the Barstow area up in there, a 2-year-old boy was swept away, and as far as I know, they haven't found him. The father was rescued, but they haven't found the boy who got caught in one up in Barstow. So if you have any information on that, please get a hold of authorities and they will follow up. A mystery creature hanging out in Southern California's storm drains. That's what Channel 5 is reporting. There you see it, mystery animal rescued after days in a California storm drain. What could be hiding in this drain? An animal care center was asking after sounds were heard beneath the LA County street. It was unclear exactly how long the mystery animal had been in the drain. Apparently, it had been there for several days, according to a Facebook post by the Palmdale Animal Care Center crews from the county fire department. Turns out it was a tiny kitten trapped and unable to escape. This little guy is finally safe and sound and definitely in need of a good bath. So it wasn't a sea creature, an alligator, or anything. It was a poor little trapped kitten. But thank goodness the LA Fire Department was there for the rescue, and good job for them. Well, it's about 2 or 3 months ago. It was the arrest of State Senator Sabrina Cervantes. She represents District 31, which is basically Riverside, Corona, Moreno Valley, Paris, San Jacinto, parts of Hemet, and a little bit of Romaland and things like that. Well, she got into a car accident up there in Sacramento. Cops found her at the hospital. They were looking. They didn't know who the car was, this and that. So they said, things you've seen, Ed, and paraphrasing, she's acting kind of loopy. They charged her with DUI and ordered a drug test, which was done hours later. So you could see the effectiveness or not of that. But that came back negative, so there were no charges. Now she's suing the Sacramento cops and claiming discrimination, and I'm alphabet soup and everybody's after me. And here's part of the Sacramento CBS 13 report.
Was never charged after a toxicology report found no alcohol or drugs in her system.
Now, the senator plans on suing, saying her reputation has been tarnished.
The reporter covering Sacramento County, Tori Amadaka, joins us in studio now, breaking down the body camera footage and what's next, Tori.
Yeah, a whole lot to go through here, but today, State Senator Sabrina Cervantes' legal team added the body camera video we're about to show you to the claim they filed against the city of Sacramento earlier this month. Keep in mind, though, that this video from the senator's attorney has been edited with captions added and pieces that are missing. Watch. Video released, edited, and captioned by California State Senator Sabrina Cervantes' legal team, showing a SUV slamming into her car.
Okay, that wouldn't be body cam footage, I don't think. It says Quadrant and Cole. I don't imagine that's whatever social media site. Maybe that's camera. Maybe the Sacramento's got cameras in the street on that corner. Sabrina Cervantes is in the car, the SUV, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, was determined failure to yield, ran into Sabrina's car. They had an accident. She calls up one of her staffers to come pick her up and take her to the hospital.
The crash damaging more than the state senator's car, but she says her reputation too, after police arrested her for driving under the influence.
Okay. First, this is suspect. Why is her legal team releasing edited portions? If they wanted the body cam, why aren't they releasing the full body cam footage? Quadrant Cole may be her attorneys, we'll see.
But later, her toxicology report came back negative.
This is not only about what happened to me, it is about accountability. And if this could happen to me, this can happen to anyone.
The state senator spoke out on September 8th when she filed a claim against the city of Sacramento for unlawful arrest and defamation. And now the body camera footage provided by her legal team offering more evidence.
But my back is starting to really get okay and my spine, so.
Sacramento police body camera video shows them questioning Cervantes in the hospital hours after the crash. Police claimed she had an unsteady gait, plus slow and slurred speech, but Cervantes' attorney says that's not what this video shows.
She gave me her phone number with her first and last name because I told her that this was a state-owned vehicle.
Police got a warrant for a blood test, but the video provided by her team shows Cervantes suggesting one.
If we could just do a blood test, since I'm going to be getting a full, let me talk to her, and if I could I choose which one?
You absolutely can.
Cervantes.
How do we know that that's the case? We're not seeing the whole footage. Maybe they had asked for it. How do we know she's volunteering it or whatever? Or the context of this? Very, 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 this is like trial by court. Haven't we had enough of this? Anyway, we'll see how the case goes. Again, she's claiming that she's discriminated that because she's LGTB, alphabet, this and that. Really gets something else. A sheriff's deputy in a civil lawsuit is claimed to be a stalker of a young woman down in the lower desert. This has some connotations. The deputy, which I believe, according to the article, is no longer employed by the Riverside County Sheriff's Department, but was charged by the Riverside County DA with 7 felonies. The young lady who was being stalked by the deputy, or allegedly, didn't want to testify, but the DA's office said, we want to charge him with the felonies, and the judge knocked it down to a misdemeanor for the deputy. Now the victim is suing in civil court. But the broader issue here is, this is like the Jay Caro case. Where what, Judge Holmes? He's going to be, we'll just give him a slap on the wrist and let him out, no prison time. Same with this guy. He's claimed that he was using police, sheriff's, computers, assets, and things to get information on this young lady and, use that to track her or whatever. But again, Judge Hernandez, I believe is his name, in this one, knocked it down to a misdemeanor. And although it says in the article he's no longer working for the sheriff's department, if you're only convicted of a misdemeanor, doesn't mean that you cannot get a job as a sheriff, police officer, or anything because you weren't convicted of a felony. Why are you going against? I mean, why not let the DA try these cases? If they're recommending felonies, hear the evidence, hear the complete evidence in the trial, and then make a decision. Senate passes National Day of Remembrance for Charlie Kirk. Sad part of that is 58 Democrats voted against this. Now, no matter what your political stripes are, somebody who's politically assassinated and you cannot vote for a day of remembrance, which would be October 14th, Charlie's birthday, says a lot about your character. Try to be nice. And this is all part of it is. We ran this in IE Newswire 2 years ago. Oh, you don't need to fight them. You just need to convince the pitchfork people that the torch people want to take away their pitchforks. Cause the confusion. That's what Karl Marx, create a crisis where one doesn't exist, Hegelism, the whole thing. You just make people hate each other or give them a reason. Tell them, not give them a reason. Give them false reasons to hate each other, and you will control them. from 2 years ago, and we're still, well, we played it out before history. We haven't learned our lesson. We're still caught in that quagmire. Randy Weingarten's trying to run post, claiming that she values freedom and freedom of speech and the First Amendment. And end to all the hate and the smears. What'd she say? ATF boss, American Federation of Teachers boss, Randy Weingarten promotes her book suggesting Trump is a fascist in the wake of the Charlie Kirk's assassination. So shut the hell up, Randy. We know you're the racist, fascist control freak. Obviously, we everything's going blank. There we are. Oh, gotta love the electronics sometimes. So Randy's a POS. I wanted to get into Turl off of Fox News. And I don't usually watch most of this stuff, but somebody sent it to me. I thought it was interesting. If you don't like the S word, tune out for a little bit. Here we go. What you thought?
Here is why is only this happening on the left and not the right? That's all we need to know. There's absolutely no cognitive.
Melissa Hortman that we just
you want to talk about Melissa Hortman? Did you know her name before it happened? None of us did. None of us were spending every single day talking about Mrs. Hortman. I never heard of her until after she died.
Doesn't matter.
Don't play that bullshit with me. You know what I'm saying is there was no demonization, amplification about that woman before she died. It was a specific crime against her by somebody who knew her. The same. Now you could bring up Josh Shapiro, but then you will not bring up, for example, that was a pro-Palestine person. So don't use your. What about this? The fact of the matter is the both sides argument not only doesn't fly. We don't care. We don't care about your both sides argument. That shit is dead. For one thing, there is no cognitive dissonance on our side. On your side, your beliefs do not match reality. So you're coming up with these rationalizations like, what about this? Or what about that? We're not doing that because we saw it happen.
It's about time. I gotta congratulate Gutfeld. He showed some balls. He said, you looked at Tarloff and said, we're not putting up with your S anymore. Done with it. You're not going to tell us boys are girls and girls are boys and black is white and to hate the torch bells. All's Tarloff and the whole crew and Weingarten and the whole crew. All they want to do, they just want to get the pitchfork people to hate the torch people, saying they're going to take your torch away. You know, them pitchfork people, you know. We're done with the chaos and the BS, like the COVID shot. 4 years. Well, 5 years, whatever it's been. Finally, no CLOT shot. No, we are not. The Center for Disease Control is not recommending the CLOT shot. No COVID-19 shot. Here's Pat Soon-Shiong, world's renowned, maybe the top cancer doctor in the frickin' world, saying, holy crap, was on with Charlie Kirk, saying, your audience, 30 and younger, I am really worried about. Because we're seeing an explosion in cancers in them we've never seen before. You see cancer in an old person. Hey, watch my dad die of brain cancer at 84. So, okay, you figure, you made it 84. That's, you're expecting, it's not unexpected to have a debilitating or life-killing disease in your 70s, 80s, 90s. Not 10, not 20, not 30. Up until this point, it's been extremely rare. Maybe in the last 10 or 15 years. nobody under 30, hardly anybody under 30 got cancer. But I love the clip from Gutfeld. At least he looked at old Tarloff and said, no, we're not putting up with stupid anymore. You can stomp and scream, you can have a little temper tantrum, you can put on a pouty face, or whatever you want to do. But we're not doing stupid anymore. When you want to stop doing stupid, then we can talk. And that's what the conversation's got to be. And that's what Charlie was doing. He didn't. Now you don't have to necessarily be mean about it. Sometimes you got to raise it to that gut filled level to get people's attention. Most of the time you don't. But sometimes you do. So hopefully we're at a point where men are starting to be men again. Starting to play our role as a retarded half the population and saying, no. Don't care. But stupid ain't happening. We're not going to take the torch people because they're saying they're going to come over and take our pitchforks, just going on their word because they've lied to us 9,472 frickin' times. Hopefully, this is a new beginning, dawning of the age of Aquarius, or whatever. Maybe the moon and the stars are lining up for all the out there in the woo land that believe in the astrology and all that, which hey, whatever trips your trigger. Got nothing against that, but maybe everything's kind of come together here.
Got about 1 minute, Roy.
In 2025 and into 2026. It sure seems that way. And we're hitting some bumps in the road, even though we lost Charlie. We got that great announcement. Center of Disease Control says, we are no longer recommending the CLOT shot. You take it at your own risk. You're on your own. It's been along for whatever it's been years. But as they say, maybe it's because the adults are in charge.
30 seconds.
We're going to be joining the Mighty Met KMET as we usually do to close out this Faster Than You Friday. Get into some of the local news, which is, boys, they've been up there on the radar screen. And some more stuff.
Here we go.
America, PatriotSwitch.com.
IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
Yeah, it is.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
There's that funky slide guitar music that comes in every Monday through Friday live at 5:30 on the Mighty Met 1490 AM, broadcasting all over the Inland Empire and the aforementioned A-band, joining our vast video audience. Well, I think only on the Evil FB Network and YouTube. I don't know, Rumble and X seem to be mad today. What a day. The floods that hit Oak Glen and Forest Falls out here in the IE, devastated. A 2-year-old is still missing. Swept him and his father away somewhat, but they found him. The 2-year-old they're still looking for. So if you have any information on that, please contact authorities. There was a creature, they thought, in the storm drains up in Palmdale. Turned out to be a nice little kitten they rescued after about 4 or 5 days. And so good job, LA County Fire Department on that. National Remembrance of Charlie Kirk Day passed. The Senate, House, and Senate will be October 14th on his birthday. Sad news is 58 Democrats could not vote for that. We still got work to do. But as dark as times may have seemed the past week or so, again, we're seeing some positive aspects coming in our community. But that doesn't mean by any stretch of the imagined close, we can declare victory, rest on our laurels, or anything else, because it's still, let's just say, bumpy out there. San Jacinto Unified School District teacher Jacqueline Gardner, from a Corey DeAngelis post, posted this from her, and she's speaking of Charlie Kirk. Piece of S. I'll dance on his grave. I feel bad for his kids, but I feel worse for the children who watched their classmates who got shot today, and all the other kids who watched their friends and teachers who did it. This is what Gutfield has been talking about, or was talking about with Tarla. It said, shut your trap. We're not taking this or that or that. It's two separate issues. Because people like Kirk are so insistent that these lives are lost just for sacrifices for our God-given rights to deadly machinery with no purpose other than to cause physical harm. First, a gun by itself never killed anybody. Yeah, it is a piece of machinery. It's the evil who's operating the piece of machinery who can use it for good or evil, just like anything. Just like you can use your car. Just like you can use a knife. Just like you can use a hammer. So San Jacinto School District put out a little press release saying, oh, teachers can have their First Amendment rights to say what they want. So I'm going to hopefully I can get some teachers or some law experts in here, and they're citing board policies. Listen to that. Now I've heard about, that was always my understanding. Once you step out the sidewalk, good, bad, or indifferent, you say what you want. But this whole free speech and free political speech and First Amendment, you can say what you want, but you can ultimately be held accountable for what you said. Can you yell fire in a crowded room or in a theater and have no consequences? The Supreme Court has said no. You can't cause a panic. So your words can have consequences. Yeah, you can say what you want. Jacqueline, you can say what you want. But on top of that, I'm a firm believer, your employer, just like Jimmy Kimmel found out, should be able to fire you. This whole teachers things and tenure, I don't believe, and I would like to have the person explain to me, we will never fix the education public school system until we get rid of tenure, which means you can't basically fire a teacher. After they've served for 5 years, it's basically impossible to get them out. So we'll see how it goes, but I got some more questions about that because I've been teaching, well, I can't say anything because my school fired me, or did I say it? So with this whole new thing breaking out, we'll see how this really is going to affect the teachers, or more importantly, I believe, get rid of this whole enchilada of hiding behind, oh, we can't say anything because it's getting flat. Ridiculous. There was a couple of social media posts at a San Bernardino school, Pacuma K through 8, so it's 5-year-olds to what, about 13. It was alleged inappropriate pictures were shown. It was alluded, insinuated that was very sexually graphic content in the video. So there were 2 of them that were placed. So yesterday I sent to the board, and the superintendent got no response. I finally got a hold of the communications department. So they sent an email from Mary Rose Goodwin, who's the comms director, I believe, over there, about my inquiry, because I'm saying, hey, what's the statement? Is this true? What happened? So I'm going to read you her response. Dear Mr. Blecker, thank you for your message and your concern for student safety. We take exposure to inappropriate materials seriously. On September 16th, during the 3rd period, a pop-up window with the inappropriate contact appeared on classroom digital display. Once the teacher became aware of what was being cast, they immediately attempted to remove it. Families of the affected class were notified the same day with the facts known at this time, and support resources were offered. Below is a list of additional actions we can confirm took place. The content was removed from the screen. The site was blocked. The principal notified the families of the students. It impacted the classroom the same day, consistent with our law and policy. We notified and are consulting with appropriate authorities. As warranted by the facts, law enforcement was immediately responded and began an investigation, which included the collection of the device in question. In alignment with the process of the district, law enforcement and information technology departments conducting a full review of the incident, including device forensics, to determine precisely how the pop-up was triggered and prevent reoccurrence. Personnel matters are confidential. However, the teacher was placed on administrative leave. Pending the outcome of the investigation, district is prepared to take any necessary and appropriate action consistent with district policy, due process, and applicable law. Counseling remains available to any student families who may be affected. Families access these services by contacting the school district. So, it appears there's an investigation going on. The teacher's on leave, so we will follow up and see what the results of the investigation are. Because how the hell did this happen? How it was on a display? Was that a computer display? Was that on a computer, on a projector? Was that on the teacher's personal computer, a school computer, a student's computer, or what? Or content, or who put the content in there, who was responsible, whose equipment was it? That's what I want to know. And I'm sure a lot of the parents want to know. And I would think everybody in the community was wanting to know. If it was just an inadvertent, or something went haywire, or somebody hacked into their system and rolled it in there, was it on the computer prior to and somebody hit the wrong button and poof, this pops up. There could be infinite possibilities at this point. But we should at least know what the process of the investigation, what steps were made, what were the results, how they were determined, who determined what happened here. So then we can make a decision then, okay, is that explanation sound plausible, or do we need to deep dive further into the situation? But as we always strive to do and be fair with everybody, but, you know, once I'm aware of accusations or something's going down, then we will look into it and see what's happening, how it is. And, you know, we don't try to blindside public officials or people doing their jobs or teachers or whomever. You know, firefighters or cops like to deal with the deputy sheriff who had the deal where either stalking or allegedly stalking or misdemeanors are in court. And then the young lady who was allegedly stalked now filing a civil lawsuit. And the judge is letting this guy off a misdemeanor when the district attorney's arguing, charging him with 7 felonies and saying, hey, he's using stuff, or from the accounts I'm reading, he's using police, deputy sheriff, sheriff's department resources to track this woman. We recommend felony conditions. We want to take it to trial. And the judge said, no, I think his name was Hernandez. We don't need no more Dwight Holmes deals like Jake Harrow going on, or this, or coming up with another story. Or another tragic story, I should say. So again, a lot of these things will be following that case with the deputy sheriff and the alleged stalked woman, or I think he's ex-deputy sheriff. I don't think he's working for the sheriff's department now. But again, as the article stated in the LA Times through AOL, that if he's just convicted of a misdemeanor, he could still come back to be a cop here in Riverside or anywhere else, you know, Yuba City or wherever. So we have to determine, you know, we have to have a criminal justice system that works. That's why we passed Prop 36 by almost 70% in every jurisdiction, I think, practically. In every town, practically. Even almost, 60% in San Francisco area. Close to 2-to-1, I think, in LA. Over 70% in most of the rest of the burbs and rural hinterlands. But hopefully we've had enough fill of that. Gutfield going back at Tarloff saying, you know, we're just not putting up with this not this me against you. We're just not doing it. And I hearken back to this. And I've seen this reposted. I mean, I didn't make it up. I've seen this reposted a few places in the last couple of days, probably because of events that have went on. But we posted this on iNewsWire 2 years ago. You don't need to fight them. You just need to convince the pitchfork people that the torch people want to take away their pitchforks. Create a crisis where one doesn't exist. Hegelism. That's back in the 1700s. Karl Marx. Just confuse the hell out of it. Lies and deceit. Like Gutfield said, you don't skirt the Charlie Kirk issue by saying, well, this and somebody did that or this happened over here or why. No, we're not playing my side against your side. We should all be in the same frickin' team here. You know, we should all want a safe society where we're not afraid to go out. Or you're not afraid of getting stabbed by some clown coming out of the car, like the road rage incident the other day. Or the woman who got beat by a crowbar down in LA area. Charlie getting politically assassinated. And the list goes on. And you can almost tell when somebody doesn't have a good retort or doesn't have a good argument or can intellectually debate a topic or intellectually defend their position, they always play this what if game, or this guy did this over there. Like Gutfeld said, and I'm glad, men are finally starting to show a little balls here. He said, no. You looked at old Tarloff and said, no. I mean, he didn't say it like this, but like I said earlier, put on your little pouty face, stomp and scream. Do your thing, but we're not doing stupid anymore. Because people are dying. And, everybody wants to say normal and this, that. We know through recorded history what is normal. Men are men, women are women, blue is blue, green is green. Rocks are rocks, mountains are mountains, oceans are oceans. You don't look at an ocean and say, well, just because you decide you're going to call that the desert, well, that just makes it the desert. No, it's the ocean. You are a fool. Or like this, you're trying to convince me the pitchfork dude, that the torch dude is trying to take away my pitchfork. So I will go over there and beat up or kill or whatever the pitchfork guy. It's really, in some cases, I can understand how we're at this point. Because people want to believe. People want to believe the Alice in Wonderland, Wizard of Oz, Garden of Eden, the whole thing. They want to believe everything is just going to be hunky-dory. And if you tell them that, they will grasp onto that no matter what. The truth and the facts are some of the hardest things to sell. Look at the COVID. Took us, 4+ years. Finally, our U.S. government comes out and says, we are no longer recommending the COVID-19 mRNA vaccinations. If you want to take one, you're on your own. Which is the way it should have been in the frickin' beginning, especially on something that was experimental. We did not know it's going to work. We're now, as we ran that one of Charlie's last interviews with the world-renowned cancer doctor, Pat Soon-Shan, and he's been pointing out the explosion of cancers in people under 30 and as young as 10. Now, he's not saying it's definitively or the only reason is a COVID-19 shot. He says at a minimum, he can't rule it out, and there's a lot of good evidence to show that it could be a major cause of these turbo cancers, aggressive cancers that are showing up in young people, which, again, even if cancer shows up in a young person, their immune system is usually and like 98.7% of the cases, is strong enough to fight it off. Even if they do get cancer, it's very rare for a young person, anyone under 30, to get an aggressive form of cancer. Now, as you get older and your immune system goes down, you're wearing out your body, yeah, you get more susceptible of that. Like I said, I watched my dad over a year ago die of brain cancer. But, again, at 84, not that I wish it on anybody, and I hope nobody else, I hope they find a cure for it that nobody has to die like that. But, at that point, that's not something that's unexpected or, out of the realm of possibility. But if you're 10, 18, 27, holy cow. I think that's a big reason why this. I think Pat Soon-Shiong is one because he's been talking to Bobby Kennedy and Trump, I believe, in this whole thing and showing them evidence. And he was trying to get evidence out before while the COVID thing was going by the postings I'm reading of his. And he was saying, hey, I believe back in 2021, 22, you guys should, at a minimum, back up and pause a little bit on this stuff. No, we're going full speed ahead, charge, the whole enchilada, and here we are. At least now, hopefully, we're at the point where we're not going to be doing any or very little damage. Again, I don't care if you take the CLOT shot. I don't care if you're over the age of consent, if you're over the age 18. If you want to chop body parts off or add them on or whatever your tripping trigger is going to do, fine. As long as you take the responsibility and consequences for it, and I and everybody else are not paying for it. I mean, I will say your body, your choice, up until the time you're trying to take money out of my pocket to pay for your choices. It's 111% against the Constitution, against natural rights, against life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, and owning your own property, which your money, your wealth is the same. When they say that in the Constitution, they weren't just talking about land. It'll be an exciting week coming up. Sunday, we'll try to cover the Charlie Kirk Memorial Service, as I'm sure everybody else will. It'll be Sunday in Glendale, Arizona. Trump, JD, Robert Kennedy Jr. are among the speakers that will be speaking at his service, and that's very rare. You very rarely do you see the vice president and the president at the same meeting, mostly for security reasons. Hit a couple local genre notes. Lake Elsinore Historical Society presents their third in a speaker series events to go over the history of Lake Elsinore. So if you want to take that in, by all means. City of Hemet, are you ready to rock? They're going to have all their festivities out there in Hemet to do that. So another fun thing you can do. There's the devastating floods that happened in Forest Hills, Barstow, Oak Glen. Remember, by replacing your morning coffee with green tea, you can lose up to 80%, 87% of what little joy you still have left in life. That's our Mimi of the day. And that woman struck and killed by hit and run drivers in San Berdoo County. That was in Redlands, I believe. Woman was hit. Man with multiple prior theft convictions arrested for stealing clothing at a local business there in Rancho Cucamonga. The phony job numbers, California's job growth was 80% less than we think. Like the phony numbers Biden was putting out that Trump had to revise. What the almost million jobs that didn't exist, they said were made. Now, all that stuff Newsom was crowing about, 80% of it was probably just plain BS, made up statistics. Ontario Airports extends growth a streak with August with gains in passengers and cargo. So they're setting more records. Their canine trials are coming up, free admission. That'll be November 15th, so that's a ways away. But mark your dates if you want to see the canine trials coming up. We did that. Again, the whole thing. People can't afford to start a family or buy a home in California. That's in the San Bernardino Sun. Between the cost of housing and all the electricity, everything, you just can't do it. That'll do it for today in this Faster Than You Friday. Take it away, Sean.
All right, Roy. Have a good weekend.
You got it. We'll see you on Monday.
Bye now.